cereal invented beer. Today, the average American beer drinker downs about 22 gallons of beer annually. That's more than a keg. Which is why craft breweries like this one work overtime to quench a beer-thirsty world. About 3 million gallons of suds roll out of this facility alone. And every batch starts with a heaping dose of cereal. Why? One reason only.
Cannot make beer without cereal grains.
No wonder these guys keep about 60 tons of it on hand. And though the technology they use to turn bland cereal into booze is state-of-the-art, the process is nothing new. Far from it. Let's go back to 8000 BC. Remember how our friends in Mesopotamia started with a bowl of cereal? Trouble was, the mushy concoction of raw grain and water made for a pretty dull meal. That is, until a breakfast breakthrough came along. Cooks found that grain left soaking would begin to sprout within a couple of days. It's a process called malting.
This stuff right here is delicious. It has a sweet flavor to it. It has a toasty flavor to it, a nutty flavor. Get me some milk and sugar and I'll make breakfast out of it.
So how does malting make cereal sweet? You see, every kernel of grain carries a tiny payload of starch. As it sprouts, enzymes convert the starch into sugars for food. Unfortunately for the baby kernel, humans like sugar too.
Malted cereal would have tasted like sugar smacks compared to the raw grain or the plain gruel.
And once man had discovered malting, he hit upon the secret ingredient to a beverage that would shake the world. Beer.
This right here, malted barley, is the heart and soul of beer.
That's right. The same barley found in many hot and healthy cereals today also gave the world one of its most popular beverages. All the ancients had to do was forget to wash the dishes.
Somebody let those grains soak a little too long and you immediately had fermentation. So you ended up not just with the benefits of the grain, but you got alcohol as a nice kick on the side.
That kick comes from yeast, a microscopic organism that's literally everywhere. And when yeast finds a bowl of malted cereal, it gorges on the sugars and secretes alcohol. The result? A thick brew loaded with flavor.
And then on top of that, then has this overall intoxicating quality to it.
We're not talking a light buzz here. Overconsumption of alcohol can pose some serious health and public safety risks. But back in ancient Babylon, beer really altered reality. After all, this was the first time anyone had ever downed a brew.
None of us were immune to the effects of alcohol, so even a few percentages of alcohol, which the early ales were 2 or 3%, would have had a huge impact on people's views. They would be the same as tripping out on LSD or some of the other drugs of today.
And before long, beer intoxicated most ancient cultures.
In the ancient world, everybody drank beer. That's what everyone did.
And many of age still do. In fact, beer is the third most popular drink on the planet. The other two? Water and tea. And though we've been brewing it since the Stone Age, the basic steps are the same.
Beer is a fairly simple process. After all, people have been doing this for at least 10,000 years.
And this process could not happen without our grainy friend.
If you pull cereal out of that equation, you have no beer. You have a world with no beer.
Lucky for billions of beer lovers around the globe, they'll never have to know what that would be like. All because cereal invented beer.